just sort of cut through it and provide a little little directional assistance with that. So he will slither through the dirt, and the keeled scales will help smooth all that dirt just right off of his body. Now, you might be wondering why Loki here wants to dig. And the answer to that is very simple. That's where his favorite snacks like to live. So, as a black pine snake, you guys would find him and his cousins out and about in the black pine forest. So that would be parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, not quite over here in Texas, but they are fairly close neighbors in the southeastern section of the United States. And in the black pine forest, there are quite a few gophers. Gophers being his absolute favorite snack. So he has adapted and evolved to dig because that's the easiest way to get his food, is to find them when they're underground. Now, Loki here and all other black pine snakes do have a bunch of other adaptations that help them find their tastiest treats. We're gonna actually start with his tongue. Now, what do you all use your tongue for? Yes, we use it for tasting. Now, snakes, they use it for something else. Can anyone know what they use it for? Yeah. Yes, they use it for smelling. So how that works is Loki will stick his tongue out, kind of like how he is now. He'll go like this, bleh. He'll wiggle it around, and then he'll bring it back into the roof of his mouth and rub it against his Jacobson's organ, which is a really fancy name for an organ he has on the roof of his mouth, right here. Can you see it? Yeah, it's right here. Now for us, we also have a Jacobson's organ, but ours is way back here at our sinuses. So if you've ever smelled freshly baked cookies and you sort of are like, oh, I can almost taste those, that is your Jacobson's organ working. Now, Loki, since he has his Jacobson's organ so prominently in the front of his face, he does that times like 1,000. So when he brings his tongue back in and he gets all those delicious scent particles over the roof of his mouth, he can taste the air and see where he wants to go. Now, another fun thing about his tongue is it is forked. So it looks kind of like this, which lets him tell direction when he's smelling. So that's kind of like if you walk into the H-E-B and you're like, okay, the bakery is that way, and the sushi stand is over there. And then you can decide which one you want to go to. Personally, I'm heading for those cinnamon rolls because those always taste amazing. Now, Loki here, if he has to pick between, let's say, okay, he's sticking his tongue out, bleh, he smells popcorn over there, he smells ice cream over that way, and he smells otters over there. What do you think he's gonna go for? Do you think he's gonna go for the popcorn? No. Do you think he's gonna go for the ice cream? Good, more for me. But do you think he's gonna try to go for those otters? Yeah, because those are closely related to what he wants to eat. So as a carnivore, he eats the meat. So he eats rodents specifically. Now, you might also notice he does have nostrils, but those nostrils are not used for smelling because that's all his tongue. Those nostrils are just used for breathing. And then you can also see he has really pretty eyes. Look at that. Just lose yourselves in those. So his eyes, though, are also not his best sense, but he can still use it pretty well because he can spot movement especially well. Now, as soon as Loki is digging and digging and digging, and he's found himself a wonderful gopher burrow, the first thing he's gonna do is try to find a tasty gopher. And he's going to strike out and grab onto it with his mouth. Because once again, does he have arms? No. So he can't like reach out and be like, okay, I'm gonna grab that, put it in my pocket, I'm gonna grab some of that, put it in the other pocket. He can't do that. So he has to use his mouth. So he reaches out and he grabs it. And he holds onto it until it's ready to eat. Now, much like me, Loki here enjoys having seconds. So that means if another gopher is like, oh, he's busy, I'm gonna run past him. Loki here, he's secretly a constrictor snake. Now, being a constrictor snake means he likes to squeeze his food. He likes to give it a hug so good it takes their breath away. Best hug they'll get the rest of their lives. But is there a lot of room in tunnels to be like wrapping around something? No, not at all. So black pine snakes have developed a different tactic. Instead of wrapping around something, they will actually just boop, press themselves against the wall of the tunnel. So if something runs past them, they'll just use their really muscular body and just sort of slam it and keep it there. And then that's how they get ready for seconds. All right. Ooh, 1 second. Hi, buddy. He's sort of entering exploration mode now. You can get a good look at how long he is, just how handsome he is. So after he has grabbed his firsts and grabbed his seconds, after that, all the other gophers, they're gonna clear out, because what gopher would wanna live where a snake has been? So it actually works out really well for black pine snakes because it sort of functions as a fairly morbid bed and breakfast. You just get the breakfast first, and then it becomes the bed part. Because then now he has this whole wonderful burrow that he can just hang out in and just live in. And that's really important because snakes especially need a lot of safe places to live. Because they are what we call ectotherms. Can you all say that word? Excellent, bonus points for everybody. So ectotherm is a really fancy way to say that they are cold-blooded, which means they can't really regulate their own body temperature very well. So if Loki or any other snake starts to feel a little cold, they have to slither on over into the sun, and then they'll hang out there, and they'll wait, and they'll wait, and then they'll wait some more. And once they're finally feeling a little warm, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm getting a little hot," they can't sweat. So what do? They slither on over back into the shade, or in black pine snake's case, they slither back underground where it's nice and cool. And that's pretty much what they do. Once they feel cold, slither into the sun. Once they feel warm, slither into the shade. And it's just a lot of that back and forth for most of their lives. With, of course, grabbing an occasional snack in between. Here we go. Hi. So, a really easy way that we can all act to help sort of keep snakes safe in their native habitats is if you see a snake hanging out in the sun, are you going to walk up and poke it in the nose? No. Are you going to pull on its tail? No. No. What we're going to do is if you see a snake, let's say there's a snake right here, and you're over there, you take a big step back, you can wave at it, say, "Thank you, Mr. Snake," or "Miss Snake," and then go around it. Because usually when you find snakes just laying out in the sunlight, do you think they're just sitting there going like, "Oh, I really hope a human walks past, I'm gonna scare him so good"? Do you think that's going through their head? No, not at all. They're just sitting there absorbing all that heat. Now, I don't know about you, but much like a cat, if I get a little too warm, I get a little sleepy, and I usually end up taking a nap. These guys do the same thing, but they have a very unique way of sleeping. All right, and Loki isn't looking very tired, so I'm gonna have to show you myself. All right, are you guys ready? This is how snakes sleep. Since they don't have eyelids, they can't close their eyes. Over their eyes, they have a very special scale that helps protect them, but they can't blink, they can't wink, and they can't close their eyes to go to sleep. So don't ever try to get into a staring contest with a snake. I'm 15-0 with Loki. Not in my favor, obviously. So if you ever see a snake out and about in their native habitat and they're just sort of sitting there, there's a good chance they're sleeping. And I don't know about you, but when people wake me up early from my nap, I can get a little frustrated with them. Same for the snakes. So we don't want to be rude. We don't want to go waking them up in their nap time. That'd just be mean, right? So we are just going to walk all around them. All right. Now, another really easy way that all of you are already actually helping snakes all over the place is actually just by being here. Just by coming here today, a portion of your tickets goes immediately to our conservation efforts all around the world. We're on 6 out of the 7 continents. We are working on Antarctica, but that's really hard to break into. A lot of ice down there. So, just by coming here today, you're already helping snakes everywhere, which is really important because snakes are really good at keeping the balance of nature intact. If we didn't have any snakes at all, if we had 0 snakes in the entire world, we would be up to, hold on, I have to do some snake math. Carry the 5, divided by 2. We'd be up to about here in rodents at all times. See that? We'd be slogging through rodents to get to work, to to go to school. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to deal with that. So next time you see a snake, be sure to say thank you, because they are doing their job to keep the rodent population in check and managed. All right, well, I've done a lot of talking about Loki, and I appreciate all of you hanging out with me. But I would like to ask, do any of you have any questions about snakes or black pine snakes or Loki specifically? Yes.